Warren Buffett's bought some stocks. He's also sold some stocks. This is a time of year where people start reporting their 13Fs, which tells us what their holdings look like at the end of last calendar year. So 31st December 2022. There's a 6-week delay on these usually. And the Berkshire Hathaway portfolio now looks like it has less US Bancorp in it, less BNY Mellon in it, less Activision Blizzard, less McKesson, less Chevron, less Ally Financial, less Kroger, and significantly less Taiwan Semiconductor, and a bit more Louisiana Pacific, a bit more Apple, and a bit more Paramount Global. The one that caught everyone's attention, I guess, was the less Taiwan Semiconductor thing. People trying to work out what happened in basically the last 6 months or so, which is when that stake started getting built out to cause somebody at Berkshire, probably Buffett, something to do with it on an investment that size, to decide they don't want it anymore. I saw Financial Investing Jeremy, because I clicked on it by accident, pointing out that he thought Buffett had probably sold at the bottom and wasn't that a terrible idea. I suspect that had little to nothing to do with Buffett's actual thinking, but Taiwan Semi is a kind of interesting company. We looked at this afterwards and thought that kind of makes a lot of sense as a Berkshire thing. It's a bit off-brand in that it's not America, but it's very much a kind of manufacturing picks and shovels type thing in an industry that's probably going to grow, but apparently not all of a sudden. Anything jump out at either of you from this bunch of moves?
The only thing that jumped out at me was what I said to you off air was that it looked like he'd taken quite a lot of the Allegheny stocks from the merger and just gone away with you, except Apple. We'll bump that staking Apple up even more. If I'm looking at it now, and it's nearly 42% from 38.9 at the last 13F. So he's inherited quite a lot of Apple shares. Notice that Allegheny portfolio had some Google and I think Amazon in it as well, and I think some Disney, and they all seem to have been shipped off as part of the sale, and Activision as well. I think Buffett's trying to signal to us here that they've lost a little bit of belief that this deal is about to go through. I think we're probably all experiencing that at the moment, because there's been quite a lot of, from multiple sources coming out to say that they're going to try and challenge this deal and break it, at least parts of it up. I'm not sure if it fails completely. I think I said this last week. I think that this deal may end up going through with some of the major titles being spun off to something else or being forcibly sold. But I don't know. I think this is pretty standard Buffett behaviour. To be honest with you, I never understood why he really bought TSMC. When he bought it, it seems to make a lot of sense. But now that he's sold it, I saw people saying, "Oh, this is very unusual Buffett behaviour." But every 13F we highlight something that he's had for a couple of months and sold. He did it with Big Pharma. I think he didn't hold Verizon that long, really, did he, Steve? You'll seem to remember there was a clamour to try and sort of guess why he bought Verizon, and then when all the videos came out, he'd sold it. So I don't think this is anything out of character from Buffett. I'm not even sure if it is Buffett buying and selling these things. But yeah, I didn't really spot anything in there that jumped out at me particularly. Paul, have you even seen it?
What's he want with Paramount? This is one of his biggest additions right now to this portfolio. Where is it? I'm trying to have a look where it sits on his list right now. Quite high up on the list, actually, compared to where I thought it was going to be. It's Paramount, not a huge stock in this whole war. It's not necessarily going to be the winner. It doesn't look anywhere near like it's going to be one of the top three. So what do you think the plan here is buying Paramount? Doesn't even have particularly big titles. Hasn't had anything really big since the 1980s by the looks of things. I think it did run Top Gun. I think it had the rights to Top Gun this year. But what do you think? Where's Paramount fitting into the strategy?
My only point was maybe he likes it because the slogan is a mountain of entertainment. Maybe he just saw that slogan and thought, that's for me.
It's not a bad, it's not a bad call. It's well within the realms of possibility. I personally think there's an acquisition here. I think he's seeing consolidation. He's seeing relatively low PE, and I think he sees, similar to what they did with Activision, I think he sees consolidation in the streaming market at the moment. There's going to be a lot of acquisitions and mergers, and there's going to be a lot of opportunity there for Paramount to get bought at a higher price than it is right now. Uh, where it goes, I don't know, but it's a good acquisition target, I think, for Apple and Amazon, who are really struggling for content at the moment in comparison to the others. One of those guys gets Paramount, the streaming market consolidates a little bit more. Paramount gets a nice hefty premium, and there's something there. He knows something, or he's considering something there, because there's no way that Paramount becomes the number one streaming service here. I don't even see the growth factor on there. The other companies, Netflix obviously adding, Disney holding up very well during its earnings, and I don't know if you've seen, but Warner Brothers has very, very quietly been growing over the past few weeks. It's actually 30% up on the year, which is a pretty good feat for a company that's losing a hell of a lot of money and going through a ton of restructuring. Arguably a very questionable business at the moment. Uh, but they're really looking to be the top three, and that's how I see it anyway.
It would be strange for them to go out, companies to go out and acquire to try and keep up with Netflix, especially when Disney's pulling back. I can't see it being Disney. I think they're definitely off the table. But it would be strange that a lot of them are cutting back on content spending because they have to, because they don't have the money to compete with Netflix, and they've figured out that they have pretty much lost this. To then go out and acquire something as well, I think that's... I think you're more likely with your Apples and your Amazons for that to happen than you are with any of the others, but it's just the crap that Paramount comes with, isn't it? You're going to get CBS and MTV and all that kind of stuff, which, 20 years ago might have been really, really hot property, but right now I can't imagine there's too many people who are in a rush to own that kind of stuff. So maybe they'll buy it for the back catalogue. That's kind of what Amazon do, and maybe they'll sell off the stuff that they don't want.
One thing I was going to ask you guys just about, do you guys have Disney Plus?
Yeah.
No.
You both do. No, you don't. That surprised me that Steve D has Disney Plus, but Steve W doesn't.
Well, I live in a house where someone else has it, so we don't pay for
Oh, right.
it. But,
Okay.
I think
You
when we
will
kind
when you
of
move?
get moved out of it, I think we probably won't, but I don't know
Okay.
that for certain just yet. I think we're more likely to pay for Netflix.
Okay, what are you watching on Disney Plus, Steve D?
Nothing. I think it's terrible.
Yeah, yeah, very interesting that is, isn't it? Because of the Hulu deal coming up, I'm still trying to figure myself out. I've actually lowered my position in Disney, sold probably a quarter of it at 116, which was a good call in the end. But we're not trying to trade it. I'm just trying to lower my allocation to it, because I'm starting to think it's not got the content. I'm genuinely starting to think that. I might be completely wrong, but Disney is. I've only got it for my kids, but I've only got it for the Hulu side. I'm not really watching it. The Disney side's not being watched. It's the Hulu side that I'm watching. And if they've got a choice here, they can either sell it or they can buy the rest of it, and nobody really knows which way they're going to go.
Well, I said to Steve on a show, I think it might be in the show that we spoke about Disney, I think there's plenty of room for them to just go and be kind of what HBO Max is, which is a really high quality, irregular content provider. I think get Netflix for your scattergun stuff, get Disney for your, whenever something lands on Disney, it's going to be pretty good. They tried to compete with Netflix and become scattergun, I think under Iger, who we all know here is, balance sheet last, content first kind of guy. Mm-hmm. The likelihood is that the content should increase in quality, and if that increases in quality, then Disney will all right, being second fiddle to Netflix in that regard. I think.
I should say, and you probably don't know because you don't look into the HBO side of things, but HBO and Discovery have decided not to merge now, so they might not be merging HBO and Discovery anymore. And that tells me at some point they're going to try and take certain bits of HBO and certain bits of Discovery and spin them off. I think they're going to try and sell some bits of the weaker parts of Discovery and HBO to get some money and get some of that debt off. So this is all up in the air at the minute. I can't really tell, but we weren't talking about the streaming wars. It's very easy to get off topic when you talk about these things. But yeah, Paramount was my only real interest here. TSMC, I don't understand. I personally didn't understand Buffett buying TSMC. It didn't seem like it was in his wheelhouse to buy that, and I wasn't sure what the buy was all about. It also looked pretty expensive at the time that he bought it as well, which confused me. So I don't know why they were in there. And this is regular Buffett recently. This has been Buffett for the past a couple of years now, the past 3 or so years, ever since the Delta Airlines and the Bank of America sales. He's turned into more of a trader than a long-term holder recently. Is this a new thing for Buffett, or because that's what I've seen. People talk about him being this amazing guy who's held Apple and held Coca-Cola for years and years and years, but then really, in my investing lifetime at least, he's just been a bit of a trader, buying and generally selling at the bottom.
Yeah, the selling stuff was the bit that sort of stuck out to me a bit more as well. In the stuff that's being sold, partly Taiwan Semi because it's recent, but also the stuff that's I associate as being in there as long as I can remember. So stuff like US Bank or BNY Mellon, and to an extent Chevron, which was a kind of that felt like one they just kept buying and buying and buying, and it was about fourth in the portfolio. And in a portfolio that size, yes, it's very Apple heavy, but four is quite big in terms of owning quite a lot of stuff there that's difficult to move off from. So I was surprised by the selling stuff. It's 3 now, sorry. Okay. And there's going to be a massive buyback coming, so it's going to go pressuring Bank of America, maybe. That was what kind of more caught my eye. The other stuff there I don't have a strong view on. I'm not sure about McKesson, whether that was a Buffett thing or not. It doesn't feel like a Buffett stock to me, that one. It feels to me like a Ted one. But, yeah, they were the things I thought were interesting. Sort of surprised to see Buffett going away from the banks, and I kind of thinking the other way in my own mind a little bit, but that's not because of anything particularly timely, more just I've been looking at them a bit lately.
Insignificantly small Amazon shares at the bottom there. So you've got Chevron at 29 billion, Bank of America at 33 billion, obviously Apple number one by miles, but then just a nice little 895 million there at the bottom for Amazon. What's he doing with that? Why
be nice to have an 895 million position at the bottom of your portfolio, wouldn't it? Yeah, that'd be nice.
Crazy,
that's not a Buffett buy. Buffett's never bought anything off Amazon. Never. I don't believe it. I don't think Buffett doesn't even have his credit card on his Apple iPhone. I bet it's not even on his Apple Pay.
I would also bet he doesn't. He did say someone else was. He said one of the two in the office. He never says which one, but it feels Todd like this one to me. Bought Amazon a little while ago now.